So now that you're hiding from your radiation oncologist, as I am, let's say you see a 40-year-old mother of 3 young children with a puppy, and she's got locally advanced pancreas cancer. You know, and in colon cancer, we've tried to convert people from unresectable to resectable. We've not been very successful at it in pancreas cancer at this point with radiation. What do you think about using one of these new superpower regimens?
So of course, as always, if a trial is available, we prefer that. And if not, I do believe that in the setting of this very advanced disease, incurable disease, I think that while we do want to have the studies to prove it, I do recommend, and that's what we've been doing at University of Washington, using either gemcitabine with Abraxane or FOLFIRINOX in an attempt to downstage patients, again, hoping to get that 25–30% response and hoping for the best. Again, it doesn't always happen if you're truly locally advanced unresectable, but sometimes we've been lucky with borderline resectable or more, you know, abutments of the vessels, so we do want to give it a shot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think one of the cooperative groups is doing a FOLFIRINOX locally advanced study, but and indeed the clinical trial is going to tell us a lot more. But yeah, I agree with you that I think we're all trying to push these so we can potentially get people to surgery. So trials, we're all into the trials. They're very, very important. So now we've got the next steps to come. And I almost feel like a lot of pharmaceutical companies were waiting for the gem-nab-paclitaxel data to push the button to go further for new studies. One of the studies that doesn't use gem-nab, but has a very interesting drug, is a drug TH302. Francis, can you tell me a little bit about this?
Interesting drug is right. It's a prodrug that basically in hypoxic environments will change and basically will deliver a nitrosourea inside of that hypoxic environment. And this trial is combining GEM with or without TH302 in locally advanced or a metastatic disease. We've had some experience already, and again, it's just nothing's out there yet, but I can tell you anecdotally, something's happening. And we've had some very good successes already. So this is a trial which again is leveling one more ratchet up the ladder, that we may have another drug. And this is what all trials that we're trying to do, is just to increase our armamentarium of what we could see. And hopefully that will bear some fruit.
And I think it also had a positive randomized phase
Correct.
2 study for progression-free survival.
Correct,
so we're very excited about the potential for this drug. Ramesh, we've worked together on this drug before, your hyaluronidase inhibitor. Can you tell us a little bit about those trials, but also why that would be so interesting for pancreas cancer in particular?
So the compound is an inhibitor of hyaluronin, and one of the reasons to use it in pancreatic cancer is we see that pancreatic cancer has a very impenetrable stroma around it. And it's been hypothesized that chemotherapy drugs don't get into the cancer cells because of this stroma. And this drug can dissolve the stroma. And we did a clinical trial. The drug is given intravenously twice a week, and we found a safe dose. There were certainly some toxicities at a higher dose, but at the phase 2 dose, it has been tolerable. And what I find very exciting is the preclinical data that has led to these clinical trials. These studies have been done in KPC mice, which actually mimic the human pancreatic cancer. And one of the studies was done at University of Washington. Dr. Cherian's colleague, Dr. Hingrani, did a very important study, as well as the Tuason lab. So we have 2 very important clinical trials, preclinical studies done. And I think for the first time, we have had preclinical data supporting taking this drug into pancreatic cancer. So we have 2 clinical trials which have started. One is the gemcitabine nab-paclitaxel with the PEG PH20, and another study which both of us are participating in is a SWOG study, SWOG 1313. So people will open it, and that's with FOLFIRINOX. So I think it's very important that we are comparing both regimens with a new agent.
Absolutely, and it's funny because I always say our surgeons will tell us that those pancreatic tumors feel like golf balls. They're so hard, and it's always been a drug delivery issue. Part of how gem nab-paclitaxel came about is being able to get the drug into the system. And I think there's even some thought that the nab-paclitaxel may help deliver the gemcitabine into the cancer as well. And then we also got this press release. It was interesting from Insight a few months ago that said that they had a positive randomized phase 2 study in second-line pancreas cancer. So Ramesh, can you tell us?
That's certainly created a lot of interest. This was a second-line study with the drug rixalimab, which is approved for treating myelofibrosis. So it does, I think, the same principle that perhaps it reduces the scar tissue, allows more delivery of chemotherapeutic agents. This particular clinical trial was a randomized phase 2 capecitabine plus or minus this JAK1/2 inhibitor. And what's really intriguing about this trial is the pharmaceutical company announced that in a pre-specified group with a biomarker, which they said was a simple laboratory blood test, about 50 to 60% of patients had this biomarker. 6-month progression-free survival was significantly prolonged, almost tripled. Based on that, I think the data should be presented at ASCO. A phase 3 study has already been started, not yet started, but in the planning stages for registration purposes.
Yeah, I think they're using gemabraxane as their backbone as well.
They are using gemabraxane in a pilot study for first line, but they are doing the second line study, large randomized phase 3. So I think that's extremely important.
And it's interesting because with pancreas cancer, it's not as much about sort of mutation status that we're seeing drug development, but it's more trying to hit that inflammatory status of pancreas cancer, and also drug delivery options, because we can't do anything if we can't get the drug to the tumor. Now, we can